Hello, I'm Maximilian Somerset and welcome to the instructional video for In the News, which is of course the liquid in the newspaper trick. And in this instructional video we're going to explain to you why it's a brilliant trick, number one. Number two, how you set the whole thing up. Number three, how you execute it. And finally, why you should never follow it with anything else. Now, who would have thought that a humble bag like this and a newspaper like that are the key to a very strong closer to your act? Well, at first glance this does look like just a bag, but this is very carefully purpose designed for the In the News trick. And the reason it's so beautifully designed is first and foremost it's textured on the inside. And that's really helpful, especially once it's glued into a newspaper. The number of times I've struggled to find the center pages in previous models of this bag design. Other bag designs have been made of thicker plastic, and they don't handle very well. And also other bag designs have been welded very badly along the welds which are necessary to hold the water, and it ruptures. But in this particular bag, this has been welded from the inside, so you can put large volumes of water in it and it won't rupture. And as far as I'm concerned about you, I want peace of mind. If I'm going to dangle this over somebody's head, I do not want white wine, or worse, red wine, all over their clothes. I don't want a dry cleaning bill. So this being textured on the inside means that it's very easy. Because of the texture, this comes apart very easily. It's very easy to find the center of it while you're looking for the center pages in the newspaper. Things come apart. Also, it's a very dull sheen. So with this, you can confidently open the newspaper up in the center and say, I think that's roughly the center, isn't it? Which is a nice convincer that you're just innocently finding the center of a newspaper. And you won't see this because it's a very thin bag, very thin. So this is a vast improvement on previous models. So you're going to need one of these to do the trick. I would recommend buying more than one, because you will perform this, you will leave the newspaper down somewhere, and some very helpful soul will throw it in the recycling bin. You're also going to need some Pritt stick. I recommend getting Pritt stick. Don't get cheaper models. Don't take the chance. This stuff holds very strongly in a newspaper. You want Pritt stick, the real, and a good thick one, not a thin one, a thick one. Okay, braces and belt, and you'll need, obviously the venue will have, and you don't have to be worried. I work with white wine. I don't work with red wine. I personally prefer that. I don't use fizzy drinks because of the air in a fizzy drink. Just use, I recommend using still. You can use water if you're at a kids show or something like that, or orange juice, but you're going to have to clean the bag out afterwards. I use white wine. I prefer it. It's less messy, and if there should be a drop anywhere, you haven't got a dry cleaning bill. So we need to go to the construction of how you put this in here, and then we'll go to the performance. Now, I've heard of horror stories of people performing this thing and putting this bag in the wrong way round in the newspaper, and then they're turning it the wrong way, and then liquid going everywhere, and that's simply because they've not been punctilious enough to actually work out which way this bag should go in, or they're just simply ignorant of the physics of the thing. And a simple understanding will suffice for you to not ever have to worry about ever getting that wrong and making those silly mistakes, I hope. So let's begin by looking at the physics of the thing. And these bags are very durable. I mean, you can squeeze them up. You can put pretty much a pint of liquid in one of these. I never put that much in. I don't need to, but you can if you want. I'll show you what's happening. This goes in the newspaper, obviously, this way round, like that. You're always finding the center of the newspaper there, and everything's being poured in this way because the seal is on that side. So if I show you the center in the newspaper there, you can see that you really have nothing to be worried about. It's very hard to see anything. It doesn't catch the light. And you can say to someone, look, are they the center pages? You can do that without any problem. So let's have a look at the physics. Let's pour some liquid in this thing so you can see what's going on. you should be able to perform the torn and restored newspaper with this if you want to go that far. I never need to. I just use it to vanish it and reproduce it. I'm just going to pour the liquid in it for now, so you'll see what's happening and get some idea about how it works and why it works. Just pouring that in there in the bag. This would ordinarily not be a problem. I would not pour it this way when it's in a newspaper. I'm pouring it this way now because the bag is very flimsy. Once it's glued into the newspaper, it's not flimsy. You don't have any problems. So that's in there. That's the way it goes in. The way you turn it is the newspaper is going to go this way. It's going to go anti-clockwise. Sorry, clockwise. Clockwise for anti-clockwise for you, clockwise for me. Okay, this way. Like this. And now you'll see that the liquid is there. The liquid is now there. And that will hold upside down. There's still plenty of space there. It's not going to jump over that lip there. It just can't. So you could even turn it a little bit more this way. And now, if I wanted to, I could even, if I wanted to, I could throw this down briefly, pick it up. And if I threw it down and picked it up, I still don't have a problem. Now the other thing is that on previous models when I used to perform this, sometimes now because the liquid was inside, the actual moisture would stick the bag together and then the actual liquid wouldn't come out in one constant flow. And that created a weak ending to the performance. With this you don't have that problem because it's textured on the inside. So it actually emits beautifully into the glass. Let's just have a look. Once it's back the right way up, let's just pour it into the glass. You'll see how it comes out very beautifully, very cleanly. There it goes, all the way into the glass. Now let's look at how we might do this in the newspaper itself. I'm going to remove the table for this. So you want to get this in here in such a way that it's safe and it works. That's the first thing. And secondly, you're not worried about it when you pick it up and you start dangling it around the place. You don't want wine going everywhere. So first thing you're going to do is find the center of the Daily Telegraph. We all know how difficult that can be. There it is, center of the Telegraph. And you do all this, obviously, prior. You don't want to be doing this during performance, obviously. That's going to give the game away, isn't it? So there it is, newspaper opened up and bag. You want the bag orientated so that the little bit there, that little kind of line, you can see that there, is this way to start with. There's a reason why, because this is going to go in the bag that way. So start by gluing the side that's going down first. And the side that's going down first is this side. The side which has the little seal now on your left. Seal on the left. Right, here we go. So this goes like this. And you want to get that way as close to the top as you can. Way as close to the top. You don't want to try and get it on the newspaper. It doesn't matter if you do. Way as close to the top. Then down the side, the right side, along the bottom. Along the left side, all the way up, like that, so you've gone around the outsides. Then a little bit of a Union Jack going on, like that. And then a few extra little stripes across, not a huge amount, there we go, like that. Now, pick the bag up, at fingertips, trying not to get too much of that glue on your fingers. Bring it up about approximately 2.5, 3 millimeters from the top. You don't want it too close to the top. And right as close to the actual center of the newspaper as you can without crossing over. Very important. And just do that a few times. Now that will glue. That will hold beautifully. Then you're going to do exactly the same on this side. Being very careful now. You don't want to glue. You don't want to glue here. Because if you glue here, the newspaper will stick together, and you don't want that, so you're only gluing the bag. Just glue at the top of the bag, as close to the top as possible. The reason you want to glue as close to the top, because you don't want any faffing around with extra flaps and things. You want this completely stuck to the newspaper. Completely stuck. There it goes. And again, down the side, around, doing exactly the same thing as you did on the other side. Right there, up, across, Union Jack, like that, and then a few stripes. And another added thing you're going to do now. You're going to actually go along here, just underneath the bag and to the right of the bag, like that, so that seals. That's all you're going to do. You're not going to do the rest of the newspaper. And there's a reason for that, because when you turn this upside down, you're going to be able to start showing pretty much every page. So you bring this across and gently let it just drop. And once it's dropped, just a little bit of this to make sure it's all glued in nicely into the center pages. Now, the next thing I recommend, in order for safety, because as I said, you want safety and you want economy of performance. So, economy of performance means it's now glued in such a way that you have less hassle. And safety, you're going to glue here, right at the top in the corner. You're going to close the next page. And again, bring that back, make sure that's all lined up. You don't want the pages higgledy-piggledy, keep them nice and even, nicely lined up. And again, glue there and close the whole newspaper. And let that glue in there. Won't take long to dry. That's it. Fold it in half. Fold it in half. Again, you're ready to go. Leave that down in the lobby somewhere or on the side. It's not your newspaper. You just picked it up from the venue. So you want to try and perform this as an impromptu effect. Leave the newspaper somewhere that's inconspicuous, somewhere that's not surreptitious, somewhere around, maybe on a table, a little coffee table or something or other like that. Somewhere that you can say, okay, well, let's see what we can do. Got an idea. Oh, let's have that. Can we have that? Newspaper. Something like that. So newspaper, pick it up, start commenting on it, say what you want. If you've got any gags, at this point you could use them. Thumb through the first 3 or 4 pages of it and just comment on maybe some of the pictures or some of the stories or whatever you want to say. And the same, then go through the back and kind of crossword puzzle at the back there and so on and so forth. And just comment on the newspaper briefly and say that you can say something like, you know, obviously the Daily Telegraph, there's no point in reading it, but there probably is some use for it. Well, this is the only use I've found for it. So then you fold it into quarters, back up first, the long side up, then this across, and then you say, I'm going to find roughly the center pages. I say roughly to make it sound as if it doesn't really matter. I say roughly the center pages, and it's very easy to find these center pages if you've glued it the way that I've suggested. And you open it, you say, I think is that roughly the center? Show it to someone, nice little convincer, and you're going to hold it open with your third finger at the back, your second finger holding open the side away from you, your first finger opening the side towards you, and your thumb gripping with your first finger there to keep that bag open. That's open. You pick up the white wine, okay, and right where you are, you don't do this over somebody's head. What you do is you tip this in to the bag. Tip the whole lot in. Make sure it's all gone. Put the wine glass down. Now I hold there with my thumb and first finger, and all my other fingers go behind everything else, because I'm going to flip it open and let it drop. And I put this over someone's head. I say to someone, okay, just blow, whatever. And I might say, madam, if you suck, say what you want, depending on your bad sense of humor. And now you just literally open and let it drop. I push slightly, let it drop. And then from there, I do this. And I look. I come underneath and I look. I'm trying to find it. And then I will, just using my thumb and first finger to give it the illusion of weightlessness now. And you've got to get this right. Remember, you're going, for you and I now, you're going clockwise. just go like that and let it drop. And you let that drop and it looks completely weightless. And with that, I just turn it all the way around and I say, and I can go through every single page of this newspaper. And as I do this, I can go over the heads of a lot of people. If they're sat in a circular table, if they're sat in a long table, or if you're sat with just 3 or 4 people, you can go over the heads and you'll say, and there is absolutely nothing in this newspaper. The wine has completely evaporated. And say, and the reason, of course, that is the case is it's a very, very dry white wine, or whatever you want to say. And you go through every page because remember you didn't glue down here, so you can go through every page. Now at this point, I act as if it's done, and I leave it at that. And I say, so there we are. That's a waste of money, isn't it? And I take the newspaper, and I'm always holding just finger and thumb on the corner as if it's completely weightless. And now I grab the other side and I'm going to throw this on the floor. And yes, I'm going to throw it. I'm going to throw it so that the actual Telegraph, the front page, is facing up at me. So I'm going to throw it like this and down, and then I'm going to pick it up quite quickly. But so I say, so that's a waste of money, isn't it? And I put it down and I pick it up like that. Now, at this point, I close it in the same way I closed it initially. Back up, sides up. I say, let's reverse this. Madam, you suck. Good. You blow. Great. You lift up the wine glass, whatever, and you tip and gently allow that to all go back in there like that. And I do this. Don't want to waste any. Throw that on the floor as if it's a nothing, and then you say, cheers. What are you going to do after that? Nothing. Just a bag and a newspaper. It's brilliant, isn't it?
So I'm going to use the Telegraph. What you do is you fold it in half and you fold it in 4 and you find the centre pages. Now that's not easy for the Telegraph because it doesn't have centre pages, it only has middle pages. Right. See, there's a little political comment there. And then you need to borrow a drink and you pour that in there. Now, if that's made you want to go, gents is down there, ladies is up. Can you that sloshing around in there? Yeah. Slosh. Or for any German people present, Castle. It's an absorbing read, Telegraph. It takes a long time to soak through. Don't ever unfold it like that because it will run out. Don't ever do that. Are there any Australians in? You're not from Australia, are you? New Zealand? Well, if you're from New Zealand, do that. See? So it goes, I think it goes into... Is there a food and drink section? And then you take the paper like this, you fold it in half, you fold it in 4,